Hi everyone, it's Jerry. This is Game 10, World Chess Championship 2024. We remain level. Ding Liren has the white pieces this time around. He opens with d4. We saw d4 in Game 6. We once more see a London system in this Game 10, just through a slightly different move order. This position here we saw in Game 6. This is where we deviate from Game 6. Game 6, it was c3, opening up the queen's eyes along this diagonal. This time around, it's a bishop move. Bishop d6. Now the capture on c5 after a move has been expended with this guy. Majority for black in the center. Strongest pawn challenged right away. Both sides castle. Queen knights out. And black captures on c4 here. If you play in the center with d4, you're only asking for trouble. Knight a4 rattles black's defense of d4, challenging the bishop. So it's the capture on c4 here. Bishop takes c4, marks move 10 for Ding. He spent about 10 minutes through his first 10 moves. Gukesh spent about 7 minutes through his first 9 moves. These next 2 moves, black's move, white's move, were the main things in this game. Gukesh's next move, he spent about 26 minutes. Ding's reply to it, about 25 minutes. In this position, if black plays the following move, plays illegally, jumping upon, puts this guy in f5, what would we have? Asymmetrical position, completely symmetrical position. I'm pointing this detail out to note the only difference in this position. These guys here, the queen bishops, are the only difference. With a focus on that difference, this can help us develop a plan. How to maybe take it as white, how to maybe put to use this more active queen bishop. What is this piece doing? How can I maybe connect on the d6 square? That could be a thought that runs through white's mind. What's running through black's mind? Well, hey, I understand your bishop is more active, your queen bishop is more active, but at the same time, it is more accessible. Black goes forward here with knight h5, tries to trade knight for bishop. Now, if you don't play in this way and let's say go with this idea, hey, I need to develop my queen bishop, let me go with a6, let me go with b5, and b7. These 3 moves all are very sensible. I'm not saying this is some winning plan for white, but I just want to draw your attention to a way that white could try and work with this queen bishop on the d6 square. If a position like this surfaces, white will be able to track down a bishop. There's no way to duck a knight for bishop exchange here. This guy is either going to be captured, or if you want to hang on to your light square bishop, you're going to give up your dark square bishop. Maybe best that black not allow this type of imbalance, this minor piece imbalance. Black's approach is with knight h5. From here, bishop g5 is played. What move was Ding maybe considering here? Well, taking advantage of a newly weakened square is maybe a way forward. Knight e4 straight away, preparing to meet knight takes bishop, knight takes bishop. Still considered around equal. In the end, his approach is with bishop g5, bishop e7, knight e4, only now. Knight back in the ballgame. We get many exchanges now. Queens coming off. A fractured structure in the end. How big of a deal is it? Not that big of an issue. Pawn on f5. King will find a comfortable square in f6. Challenging the rook now on the open file. This square remaining open for the other rook. The king has some healthy moves now that the king rook has moved. All right, we get another rook exchange in there. improving the king. A3 and F5 mark move 20. Both players have about an hour remaining. Time is not an issue in this game. Continuing to improve the kings. Now, in this position, it's considered equal, but if there is a better side, it would have to be white. Healthier structure, slightly better rook. Potential entry point here on C7. Black does not have entry points. They're conveniently watched over by the king, as well as other pieces. This guy right here, this isolated pawn, who would scare that pawn? This guy. Rook c4, rook h4, a little pressure applied to that guy. How would it be defended? Black could defend it with king g7. That seems fine. But does the king really want to have that responsibility? Does it want to be demoted, pulled away from the center? Not really. We'd prefer to not have to babysit this isolated pawn. So if we can exchange rooks here, this pawn breathes a sigh of relief. There's not going to be any pressure on that pawn. You put it on h6, this guy's not going to scare it, and the knight is not able to angle itself in a way to even apply pressure to that pawn. Exchanging rooks is desirable here for black. Black goes with knight e7 and rook to c8, offering a rook exchange. Now, before I put those moves on, I want to draw your attention to one way the structure could potentially change on the king side. I'm going to make some passing moves here for black and flick in these moves here, h3 and g4. Should this tension surface, how should black react to it? Do you capture or do you sit? If you capture here, this is helping white slightly. Reason being, this pawn, still isolated, is now on a half-open file. This may mean that it is more accessible. Also, maybe there's a g5 move that could come in. Also, without a pawn on f5, maybe some coordinated pressure on the h7 pawn or h7 square. My point is that if there is this tension, it is best that black sits and remains in a position to watch over f5 with a piece. The king is a convenient defender of the f5 square. So in the event of this pressure, a good move here would be h6, preventing any g5, bugging the king, and things are cool for black. One thing to steer clear of as black in this position here is the following move. Let's say instead of king to f6, after h3, black should not be afraid of this g4 move. Black should not be playing h5 to try and stop this move, because now this would become a target. This would give white a window to play h4, doing what? Fixing a pawn on a light square. This guy is now happy. Okay, in this game we do not have, after bishop t2, we do not have this plan to change the structure on the king side. We end up having mass exchanges. From here it is g3, all pawns coordinated now with the light square bishop. Something other than g3, rook entering here is not a big deal. It could be offset with rook to d7, or even bishop c6 is a move here. Rook d7 seems simplest. It's g3 in this game. Rooks are gone. Knight d2, knight c4. We are exchanging everything. In this bishop-specific ending, there is simply not enough going on here. We just improve the kings, put pawns on dark squares. And where are the entry points here? Nothing to really speak of. If we consider this fifth rank, these squares here are controlled by both sides' pawns. And how do you enter with the king to even put pressure on base points? You can't, because you can't get through this line here. So we just have a bishop shuffle at this point, a repetition of position, and a peaceful game 10 here. If something more is tried, let's say this, rather than a bishop shuffle, let's say a check, you just back off. You don't take and straighten out the black pawns. You just have to demote the king, and there's no entry points here. So if we continue with bishop moves, if there's ever pressure on the pawn, bishop's there watching over. And there's no situation where black is in zugzwang or anything like that. Bishop has plenty of moves to watch over this one weakness. You would really need more than one weakness to make some kind of progress here in this ending. So if the king, let's say the bishop goes here, the king tries to sneak up here, you could always flick in a check, drive the king back, and return to defend. Simple enough to defend this ending. So we don't have e5 here, just the little bishop shuffle to end this game 10. One of the shorter, uneventful games of this match, about a 2.5-hour encounter, this game 10. I like to point out that a match strategy here for Ding at this stage, now that we are approaching the end of this match, it could be that he's comfortable going into the tie breaks, the faster time controls. Is Gukesh okay going into the faster time controls? If not, he's really going to have to make the most out of his 2 remaining games with the white pieces. What is that tiebreak? What does that look like? Should it be level after the 14 games? We would have a best of 4 rapid games, time control, 15 minutes with a 10-second increment. Okay, a draw here in this game 10. What'd you think of this one? Feel free, as usual, to leave any feedback to this video in the comments section below. I hope you enjoyed it and maybe took a thing or two away. That's all for now. Take care.